Dave Hogshead here for Practical Shorin-ryu. So this is the last video in my short series on sort of training some practical applications for Fukyugata ni or gekisai ichi using the target mitts. Again, I've gained some inspiration from Lee Morrison on his use of the target mitts for self-defense training, and also Ian Abernathy, who's developed his own kata, Tennoku kata, using the target mitts. So I'm thinking about how can we take some of our kata and practice the some practical bunkai applications in solo training using the target mitts. Many of us are still in lockdown, or our dojos are open, but we're still not allowed to have a partner training. So in addition to practicing our kata and so on, we might be able to implement some of these solo training drills even in the dojos in order to help us in our practice. All right, so this last sequence is basically a series, two sets of basically what looks like a double chest block going into this double punch. So how might we view that particular portion of the kata? What is a possible practical application for it? And how might we use target mitts to train that application using some type of target mitts and a little bit of resistance training, so to speak, even though we're training by ourselves. Some impact training. How might we use the target mitts to allow for impact training to supplement our practical bunkai application training? Okay, so we've looked at the opening sequence and the middle sequence of Fukyugata ni or gekisai ichi. Now we're going to be looking at the last main section. So for review, the opening section looks something like this. And we discussed how we can use that as kind of a flinch response to an attack. Then the middle section, we talked about how we can use that as kind of clinch fighting scenario. And so from here, we're moving into the last two moves of the kata. And then finish. So from here, what looks like this double chest block into kind of a double punch, double chest block into this double punch. So how might we think of that final movement? A variety of possible applications, but what I'm thinking about here is a defense against your lead arm being grabbed. Now in some other videos I've talked about how you can use, for example, a low block step punch technique as a way of reaching in, grabbing their sort of lead arm, pulling it down, stepping in and punching, right? Really good preemptive strike type of technique. Or you're in the midst of a fight, their hands are up, you want to control that limb, pull it down using the low block, to pull the hand down, step in, punch. Well, guess what? They might do that to you as well. So your hands might be up, right? Defending, trying to gain control of their limbs or whatever, and they might seize your lead hand and pull it down and start striking. Well, I see this motion as a way to deal with that possible scenario. So we're going to set it up, your hands are up, that lead hand has been grabbed and pulled down, and they're going to start striking. So that hand has to come up to protect, right? But you have to reverse their grab as quickly as possible. So that's this kind of motion, right? So the hand is down, you're reversing that grab, possibly reversing the grab itself, but at least getting the hand up. That's going to cause them to get their hands and their body twisted. So as you're twisting the hand up, now you can then strike over top. That's this motion, all right? So from here, you can imagine that lead hand has been grabbed. You're reversing that grab. There's your double chest block. Reversing that grab and then punching. This basic motion, right? So from here, that kind of motion. So, your hand is down, you defend, you reverse it as quickly as possible, and then punching over top. Okay? So that's the basic application. How can we work this using our target mitts? All right. So we've got our target mitt. So you can imagine that hand has been pulled down. Yeah. So hand has been pulled down. You cover as quickly as you can. You don't want to stay there and keep getting hit, right? So you reverse it as quickly as possible and strike over top. There's this double punch, right? So it's not necessarily a double punch so much as controlling their arm, that's their wrist that's grabbed your hand, and then striking on top. So to set that up, here, and then back away. Right? Here, reverse, and back away. And then you just put the mitts on the other hand. Back away. Hands pulled down, reverse, back away. So a quick, easy little application, but I think effective, and it works really well using the target mitt. So it's the idea that your lead hand has been pulled down, you're now vulnerable, your head is open, you got to cover, reverse the grab, control their limbs so that you're pulling them down, basically doing to them what they just did to you. Pull them, their lead arm down, or the hand that's grabbed your hand, reverse it, and then you're punching over top, basically ending up in that double punch posture. Okay? So I hope these drills have been helpful for you. Even if you don't practice or know this particular kata, hopefully it gives you some ideas of how you might think through the kata that you do practice, and think about how you can use target mitts to supplement your solo training. In addition to shadow boxing or shadow sparring some of your applications, you can also develop some of your own drills using target mitts in order to help you have some impact training along with your shadow sparring, shadow boxing training as well.